Hi folks, welcome to Great Books, Big Ideas. I'm Jim and I'm on another library jaunt. I am headed this Friday, October 11th, 2024 to the Newtown Square Public Library, the Newtown Township Public Library. This is in Delco, Pennsylvania, southeast Pennsylvania. It's about 20-25 minutes from my house. And it's in my old stomping grounds. Marple Newtown School District, consisting of Marple Township and Broomall, and Newtown Township, Newtown Square. And this is the area where I grew up for the first 21 years of my life. And it's always nice to go back. It's funny because whenever I go back to Marple Newtown, I feel like the faces look kind of familiar, even if I don't know people literally. They just feel familiar, and I seem to get along with people really well when I get back into my old stomping grounds. I understand the way they talk, they understand the way I talk, we can hear each other, listen to one another, and it's usually just a nice vibe. And just people that sort of look vaguely familiar. But the point of this trip is to find some books and maybe some CDs. I had some good luck last week at the Chester County Library sale. This library sale at Newtown Township is smaller, but they often have a pretty good selection. And I'm going on the first day of the sale, and it's early afternoon, getting into mid-afternoon. I'm wondering if the crowds are going to be bad. It's a Friday, so my theory is maybe they won't be too bad, but we'll find out shortly. It's a nice October fall day, seeing more and more color in the trees. We're very far from peak, though. We don't usually peak in color until the last week of October, first week in November, right around Halloween. It's usually like really lovely, and it seems that with climate change, that peak foliage color is getting pushed back to now about a week later than it used to be. My memory was, when I was growing up around here, the color would peak maybe around mid-October, mid to late. Now it's late October into November. And you can still get a lot of nice color like well through November. But there is color. It's a beautiful sunny day with blue skies. I needed to get out of the house. I was kind of feeling stressed with working at home, and it's a little bit of anxiety, and needed to get away from my writing work. I'll get back to it later today. And it's fun to explore, see what used books are waiting for me, if any. It's the thrill of the hunt, isn't it? I really love doing it. It's easy to do, doesn't cost me much. It's a nice hobby. I've been thinking a lot about reading lately, and I might compose some of these thoughts in a video, but I've just been enjoying, ever since I quit my full-time job or was bought out, I have so much more time to read, and I'm really savoring it because I'm getting to read the books that I want to read, not the books I have to assign for class. And the thought struck me today, I haven't really truly been in that state where I could just read whatever I wanted to read all the time since maybe like I was a kid. I mean, I've been teaching most of my working career, not every year. There were some times there where I was doing writing, tech writing, freelance writing, and editing, and stuff. And so it wasn't like all the time, but most of my working career was spent in a classroom. And I always felt I read a lot of great stuff along the way with that, because I was always trying to like freshen up my my syllabi and my reading lists, and it was now this parking lot does look pretty crowded. All right, we'll see if we can find a spot. I'm gonna have to park around the side of the building. So to just finish that thought, I have more time to read what I want to read. I don't have to read things I'm assigning for classes or that I'm contemplating assigning for classes. And it's just totally liberated me in the sense that I can follow breadcrumbs. I can go from book to book. So I'll give you an example. I'll talk about this in my next reading update, but I finished Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House, which is a haunted house psychological horror story. And then it made me think of the Sigmund Freud essay, The Uncanny, and I have a Penguin Classics edition that contains that essay and a bunch of other stuff actually in there. So I just picked that book up and started reading it because I could, because there was nobody saying like, well, you really should be reading something else, or you got to prep this book or this story or this poem for class. And I just love being able to do that, to follow the serendipity trail or the breadcrumb trail. And that's really a lot of fun. And going to these book sales is a lot of fun too, because I can just stumble into things. What kinds of diamonds in the rough are there going to be? Yes, I have like sort of stuff in the back of my mind that I might be hopeful that I'm going to find. I'm always looking for classics and Penguin Classics, and sometimes like the more leather-bound copies of things, if they have anything like that, or nostalgia plays, stuff that I remember from my youth. I'm looking a lot more now for mass market paperbacks that are vintage. You never know like what you're going to find, but that's just like, it's just so much fun to like see what strikes you. And that's really now become my reading life. Whatever strikes me as interesting or curious, or I want to follow a trail, I can do it now. Let's see what we find in the Newtown Public Library book sale. I'll be back with a report shortly. Okay, I'm out of the library sale and I'm glad I went. I spent a grand total of $18. Not too bad, a little more than last week, but I think I got a few more books. Anyway, I have some interesting finds, a few CDs to share as well. I guess I'll start with the CDs, even though this is a booktube channel. Some of these are going to be gifts. So I got the Beatles Rubber Soul. That's the original CD release. That's going to be gifted probably to my daughter. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, Elton John. I got this, even though I have this, I'm not sure I have this edition of it. And that album's been on my mind. I forget why, but I was just thinking about it like maybe 2 weeks ago. And I might have been reading something. I don't know why it was in my mind. Why did these things pop into our head? But anyway, I was thinking about Elton John and thinking, hey, I should listen to that album again, get to know it even better. Yeah, I'm curious to see if that's a different mastering of that. This was a group, Tegan and Sarah, that I've heard of, and I've never gotten a record by them. I'll probably give this a listen and then give it away. I think my daughter might be interested in that band. I'm not sure. This also, I have already, Billy Joel Turnstiles, and that is going to be a gift. And then a couple here's another Billy Joel. This is 52nd Street, which was that's a favorite Billy Joel, one of my favorite Billy Joel albums. Turnstiles and Stranger and 52nd Street are probably my favorites. I think that's a very early CD version of that I don't have. And then a couple classicals. Both of these are George Sell and the Cleveland Orchestra doing Brahms third and Brahms fourth with some extras. George Sell is a conductor I'm getting a lot more interested in these days. Everything I've heard by him has been really nice. Yes, I could probably stream those, but for $1 a piece, I figure what the heck, I'll give them a listen. I don't have to keep them, I can give them away. This is one of the more interesting books I found, Salome by Oscar Wilde, illustrated by Aubrey Beardsley, Dover Press. And I got this mainly for the illustrations. So this was kind of cool for $1 to find these. Yeah, that was kind of nice. Yeah, nice illustrated edition of that Oscar Wilde play, Salome, which I believe I've read Salome, but it's been a while, so I might revisit it. This is a book I'm going to give to my wife. I hope I can give it to her before she watches the video. I'm sure I will, actually in about half an hour. Ticket to Ride, Inside the Beatles 1964 and 65 Tours That Changed the World, written by Larry Kane. Now, Larry Kane is a very familiar name to those of us who grew up in the Philadelphia area. And he was, oh, it's signed too. It's a signed Larry Kane. Woohoo! I didn't realize that. And it comes with a CD of interviews with the Beatles. So anyway, Larry Kane was a news anchor on WPVI television, Channel 6 as our local station. And, oh, wow. Yeah, so anyway, he's really got a lot of mileage out of this lucky happenstance where he toured around with the Beatles when they first came to America, and he was actually kind of became friends with them, especially John Lennon. And yeah, I couldn't pass that up. And now I realize it's a signed edition. And I love Larry Kane. I love his voice. I really missed him when he left the Philadelphia market. I think he moved on to local news in New York for a while, and then I don't know, maybe he retired or something. He's still around though. Anyway, that'll be fun. This is a Northrop Frye book called Words with Power, Being a Second Study of the Bible and Literature. Northrop Frye is one of my favorite literary critics, a Canadian literary critic. This book looks like it's in new condition, even comes with a little bookmark, and couldn't pass it up. So Bible criticism, he was a great proponent of reading the Bible as literature and had a lot to say about it. I have some more mass market Shakespeare. These are Folger Shakespeare Libraries, and I just grabbed them hoping that I don't already have them. Last week I was getting a lot of Signet classic Shakespeare's. These are Folger Shakespeare Library, and they would obviously have different notes and introductions, so it's fun to compare them. Much Ado About Nothing. If I have duplicates, I'll just give them away. Macbeth, Henry IV Part 1, some classic Shakespeare there. Also, just one Penguin classic, and that's Thomas Paine, Common Sense, which I don't think I have. I think I have Rights of Man, but this is Common Sense. Just been reading about the American Revolution and that John Jakes novel of Rebels. Tom Paine was a character in that book, so that's a nice little serendipitous bump into an author. This is Raymond Carver, where I'm calling from, Selected Stories. I was reading a little bit about Raymond Carver in the Frederick Jameson book that I skimmed about what was it called, like the ancients and the postmoderns or something like that. Anyway, it was the subject of that chapter was mainly Shortcuts by Robert Altman, which is based on stories by Carver. I don't think I have this edition of Selected Story. I do have some Raymond Carver on the shelf. These are the vintage contemporaries, so that's nice to grab that. I think I used to have that, but anyway, that's kind of where that's at. Also, I got another Gene Shepherd book, The Ferrari in the Bedroom, and this is 21 Stories. Couldn't pass up Gene Shepherd. I'm really gonna have to sit down and read my Gene Shepherd collection, because I got quite a few books by him now. This was a book that I have read, but it's in such a nice edition. I think I got rid of my mass market paperback edition. I read it in grad school, and it's The Proud Tower by Barbara Tuchman, which is, she's a great American historian, and this is a history of Europe leading up to World War I. And this was really what turned me on to Barbara Tuchman. And this was a book I might reread. It was that good. So it's nice to find a great paperback edition that's in like new condition. And finally, a book about religion, The Way of a Pilgrim, and the Pilgrim Continuing His Ways, spiritual classics from Russia. So this is where we get the Jesus prayer from, I think. It's a book that was alluded to in Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. I think I have my facts right about this, but I've always been intrigued by that since reading Franny and Zoe, and now I think I get to read the source for it, or one of the sources for the Jesus prayer. And then finally, when I was checking out, the guy asked me, he said, it's funny because I was just talking about this, he said, are you from here? And I said, well, I just grew up, I grew up in Marple Township. And he's like, oh, you might like this, Newtown Square Preserving Our History, which is published by the Newtown Square Historical Society. And it's got little chapters about historical sites in Newtown Square. Some of these places I probably know, and some I don't. So I'm going to bone up on my Newtown Square history. That was a freebie. And I'm glad I went. I had some good success. I have some stuff that I can give away, some stuff that I can just add to the paperback collection, some upgrades, and not everything I'm going to keep, but that's the way things go. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'm going to head back now, and I'm going to give the Larry Kane book to my wife. She won't let me videotape the reaction, but I can report on that later. Thanks, folks. Bye.